a shocking leak of a review into Prevent has warned the government's failing counter-terrorism programme is putting too much focus on right-wing extremism and not enough on Islamist extremism. The review, carried out by the academic Sir William Shawcross, was delivered to the Home Office at the end of April. And in the extracts obtained by The Guardian newspaper, and quite a scoop today, there are a series of staggering revelations regarding the botched job taking place there. Sir William identified a, quote, double standard approach to tackling different forms of extremism, with individuals unreasonably marked as neo-Nazis for expressing right-wing views that are actually mainstream. The focus on Islamist extremism, meanwhile, has been too restricted, and renewed attention is required, according to the report, including when individuals do not yet meet the terrorism threshold. In other key findings, individuals have been referred to Prevent to access mental health support, even when there is no evidence of extremism. And astonishingly, some Prevent-funded groups have promoted extremist narratives, including support for the Taliban. Above all else, the details of that report lays bare that the anti-terror programme is in total meltdown, which doesn't exactly make for reassuring reading. Now, Calvin Robinson, Prevent is a passion project of mine. We have been so close to what could be mass death terrorist events, partly because of failures of Prevent. And the issue is, Calvin, and this report is going to lay it bare, and it's not going to be popular with the folks at The Guardian who put a very negative spin on this report. But the issue is that Prevent seems to be equating relatively low-level right-wing extremism with very serious Islamic homegrown terrorism.
Yeah, and it's not just Prevent. So I saw this as a school teacher. Teachers were reporting kids to Prevent for having slightly right-wing opinions, as if, like you mentioned, as if they are neo-Nazis. But the problem we have with Prevent in general is it's supposed to prevent extremism. And the biggest problem with extremism in this country is Islamism. But people are afraid of it. People are afraid of causing offence. People are afraid of rocking the boat on this multiculturalism project. And people are terrified of not being politically correct. So they don't want to address the Islamism issue, which is why we have the Muslim grooming gangs up north, which is why we have all of these Islamist extremists that are born and bred in the UK, not people coming over here from other countries, people that have lived here all of their lives and are finding themselves to become extremists, because we're not preventing the problem. If we're not doing that, what is the point of this project?
Because, Dawn, no one is saying that genuine right-wing terrorism shouldn't be investigated. Of course it needs to be. But, Dawn, we have seen a lot of quite concerning, that's the understatement of the year, highly, highly threatening Islamic extremism slipping through Prevent.
Well, I think the murder of David Amess proved that Prevent certainly isn't fit for purpose, and this review has been delayed, and it will take years for a recommendation to be put into practice in any case. But between 2017 and 2020, MI6 intervened in 27 failed attacks. 8 of them were right-wing. The other were extremist Islam. And, we can all know them. London 7/7, the Manchester Arena bombing. I mean, the list is endless. So many people have lost their lives because of Islamic terrorism. Obviously, I can name the right-wing ones. David Copeland, the killer who killed Joe Cox, Finsbury Park Mosque. There are examples where right-wing terrorism is lethal. But on the whole in this country, it is Islamic terrorism that is more of a threat. And to stick our heads in the sand and ignore that fact is condemning more people like those poor kids in the Manchester Arena. I mean, 27 kids died in that one. 27 youngsters died, including an 8-year-old girl. We can't tiptoe around this stuff. We have to face up to the facts on this one.
Nigel, what did you make of this leak, and particularly the way The Guardian covered it today? Because the way that I read their report, and by the way, it was actually a really great scoop for The Guardian, but it was very much written in the cloak of this report being a bad thing. Whereas I look at this report by Shawcross as, oh my God, we need this, and we need this report actioned now. We actually needed it actioned, before the killing of David Amis.
Yeah, there's no point employing Sir William Shawcross if you're not going to actually act on his recommendations. And I thought that I think Dawn made that point really well there. That the key seems to me that his recommendation that we are drawing neo-Nazi extremism too broadly and Islamist extremism too narrowly, that needs to be addressed by the security services. When it comes to how you actually deal with resources, Islamist terrorism is still the primary target of MI5. But one in five of the plots they're investigating have been from the right wing. And we mustn't forget what happened to Anders Breivik in Norway, where that was the worst atrocity we've seen in Europe. So the point here seems to be...
And, of course, the shooting in Buffalo.
And the shooting in Buffalo more recently. So the point basically...
No one's saying that right-wing terrorism shouldn't be cracked down upon. But as you say, if you look at MI5 and it's, 1 in 5,
yeah,
you say, that doesn't match with the focus of Prevent.
Well, I mean, that
should,
which is obviously what the Shawcross report is looking at. I mean, Prevent has had some considerable successes. I think that if one accepts the figures, 150 people, 50 of them children, were prevented from going to Iraq and Afghanistan, Iraq and Syria to fight. So that was a success from Prevent. Absolutely. It doesn't mean there aren't things wrong with Prevent.
No, I know. Yeah, six of the most recent attacks have been carried out by people that were on the Prevent scheme.
That's the issue. And the problem is with a programme like Prevent, it only takes one terrorist not prevented to go and murder 27.
The other problem we've got is resources, because you get to your next stage. Prevent's meant to stop it, but the next stage will be how do you diffuse these plots, and MI5 then need more resources to do so.
Increased, I completely